Hey everyone, welcome to another live. Today we have a funny one. I wasn't sure, should I make a long form video about this or should I just do a live stream or what? I mean, this is the sugar diet that's, I don't know, suddenly it's been a thing on social media. A couple of people have been touting its benefits, et cetera, et cetera. And when I do some web searches, actually it was kind of hard to find out anything about this on the web. But I get to this interview between Mark Smelly Bell, who I've never really had much interest in or respect for, to be perfectly honest. I don't think he's a very deep thinker. And this dude, Travis Cole, who's a complete, sorry, Cole Robinson. And he's a complete nutcase. He always has been. And that's kind of his brand. His brand is being a nutcase on the internet, right? So, what to say about this? I think let's start with why some people would find it interesting, useful, whatever. We have to understand that the body at the level of the cell, at the level of mitochondria, there are five nutrient sources, right? Five sources from which mitochondria can turn ADP, adenosine diphosphate, into ATP, adenosine triphosphate. This is the process that we call energy production, right? For shorthand, right? This is how the chemical reactions that fuel us. I don't use the word calories because it's not accurate, okay? And we try and be 100% accurate on this channel. So we are creating chemical reactions that are fueling us. Those chemical reactions rely on substrate. One of the substrate is sugar, glucose, absolutely, 100%. Another one is fat, okay? A third one is protein, specifically glutamine. Glutamine is an amino acid that can be used for energy creation in a pinch. Another one is lactate. That is also not used much in in exercise. We talk about lactate and how lactate gets burned by the cell, by the mitochondria. And then the fifth is alcohol. Okay, so those are the five substrates from which adenosine diphosphate can be transformed into adenosine triphosphate. Okay, fine. Now the problem happens, the two most common are glucose, sugar, and fatty acids. Now the problem happens when we are taking large amounts of both of those, which is on a standard diet. Think about a hamburger, right? Or a cheeseburger. You have fatty meat, you have cheese, plus you have a huge amount of carbohydrates. That is like a really, really, really bad recipe. In fact, my favorite hamburger is actually better than my favorite example, which is the donut, because the donut has no protein. The hamburger at least has some protein, which is going to mitigate the bad effects of having those combined substrates at the same time. But a donut has nothing going for it. With me? If you have a donut, you're only having the carbs and the fats. There's nothing else in there. Okay, so a donut is like, and the problem of sugar and fat competing to be used by the mitochondria. By the way, these are all dimmer switches. These are not like on-off switches. These are dimmer switches. And if you switch more towards the glucose, if you're eating more glucose, you switch towards more the glucose. If you're eating only fat, you'll switch towards the fat. But glucose in the blood is toxic. Sugar in the blood is toxic. So if you're having mixed meals, the fat is going to stay in the blood longer because the body needs to prioritize the glucose. This is something called the Randle cycle. It has been well explained by Bart Kay and others. There's an interview on this channel with Bart Kay that goes over this in great detail, right? Fine, okay, understood. So when you're having only sugar and you're taking out all the fat, you could lose weight. You will lose weight most likely because you are not triggering that Randle cycle as hard, right? Now that would be fine if your only goal was weight loss. But there's so much more to say about goals and about health, right? First of all, we have essential amino acids, essential fatty acids. So you cannot be on a diet of only sugar indefinitely, right? You will die. You will face a deficiency of essential amino acids and essential fatty acids, right? That's point number one. It's just not a sustainable diet. Point number one. Point number two, sugar is basically a drug. Like you're basically, people who are talking about this, and I just looked at some short videos of this joker, Mark Bell or whatever, who says he's lost weight and he's also feeling great and so on. Yeah, if you start taking cocaine, to give an example, the first few days you're going to feel pretty damn awesome. Cocaine is an upper. Cocaine fills your body with all these pleasure hormones and so on, right? And very soon you're an addict. You like the feeling of when you're taking the cocaine, right? So sugar is very much the same way. It lights up exactly the same brain centers. So it doesn't surprise me that people are like, oh, and I'm performing better. Sugar is also an upper. Sugar will also increase your ability to do push-ups or squats or whatever in the short term, no doubt about it, before you hit the wall, right? Now, that's one, is that it's not triggering the Randle cycle. Number two is that it's basically like a drug you're giving yourself. And a lot of the people who are swearing by it are people who have used drugs, steroids, and other things, for bodybuilding purposes. They've been using those drugs for years anyway, so they like the feeling of drugs, right? Assumably, right? But I think most importantly for me, like from an ancestral perspective, like what the hell are you talking about? Like a diet of pure sugar? Sugar is an industrialized product. It is a product of the 20th century. It did not exist in the form that we currently eat it prior to that, right? So if you were to make a case for if you were to make a case for let's have sugar in the context of some fruit or even some juice and so on, which these guys are also taking, by the way, but they're spooning teaspoons of table sugar into their orange juice. You can't make a case for that from a first principles perspective, right? It's just insane. It doesn't make any sense at all. Okay. So am I saying that maybe some people could find some benefit from this? Yeah, I suppose so, but why? Like, why would you want to do this to yourself? Do you hate yourself that much? Are you going to prioritize losing a pound or two to your own mental health, your own physical health in the long term? Is that what you're proposing to do? Or do you want to be serious and talk about serious ways of living that are modeled on how humans should be living for hundreds of thousands of years, if not longer, right? So for me, I can't take this seriously even for a second. It's just completely ridiculous. The fact that people are getting some health benefits on it, cool, man. I mean, every single diet trend that's been there for the last, I have a long memory. I can remember the grapefruit diets of the 1970s and 80s. Like I can remember every single fad diet you can name since about 1970 onwards. Like, and they've all had their benefits, right? It doesn't mean it was a good idea. It doesn't mean that they're long term. They're a good idea in the long term. Louise, thank you so much, my friend. Your messages and explanations are always good. Louise Benning says, for folks who haven't checked out my YouTube channel and the interview with Louise on there, please do. It's really, her story is really remarkable. Thanks for joining, Louise. Yeah, so I don't really have much more to say on this. I mean, let me know if you want me to go into this in more detail. It's just such an idiotic idea. And the fact that the first video I saw was this guy again, Mark Bell, and he shared what he had for breakfast, which was literally a handful of Sour Patch Kids, like gummy worms, like gummy bear, like it's just pure candy, right? And I'm thinking, man, 6-year-old me would love this diet because I was addicted to sugar like nobody's business, right? And so, yeah, if you can find a way to fuel your addiction in a quote unquote healthy way or in a way that helps you to lose weight, I mean, I think that could appeal to some people, but not my friends listening to this right now. Not you guys have a bit more intelligence than that, I hope, right? So thanks so much, and I'll see you in the next one.